The marble not yet carved holds the form of every thought that the greatest artist has. Welcome back to the channel. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm your host Amy from Pen Venture. Welcome to a new fountain pen review. And in this one, we are diving into a creation which I think has been a little bit underrated this year from Visconti. And the quote regarding carved marble, it's going to suit this very, very well because it is a marble fountain pen, the Visconti Il Magnifico Calacatta gold marble. The Visconti story started in 1989, a friendship that formed a very, very well and renowned pen manufacturing facility, Visconti, based in Italy, Florence. And what we have today, it's the 7th launch in this impressive collection, Il Magnifico, it's called. And basically, it's a very, very refined, high-end marble fountain pen, which it's going to take from that mythical place of Renaissance, Florence, which is a city that I adore in Italy, and I dare you to visit that place and also drop into the Visconti official store. And it's gonna take the heritage, the historical weight of that place and its patrons of art, the Medici family, Lorenzo de Medici, and it's going to infuse every single bit of that DNA with passion inside this creation that we are going to experience in this video. Let's start with the customer experience. This is a high-end luxury writing instrument, so it's important how it is presented once you make the purchase and welcome this in your collection. Wow, this is a very, very nice experience altogether. This is the kind of a box which can be served as a display option on your desk. So if you're proud that you are a very lucky limited edition owner of this Visconti Il Magnifico, you can display it on your desk, behind you on a shelf with proudness. We're going to lift the lid. This is real glass and everything. This is what you get inside the box, the pen safely waiting for you here. And under it, you'll find the ID card with all of the information regarding the pen, the nib, the trim elements, every single thing that you may want to know, and also identify with your pen because it has the serial number of your own pen, and a warranty and care guide under it. And basically, that is it. Now, let's have a look closer at the writing instrument itself, its form, and then we're going to get into very fine details. We are dealing with a fountain pen which is faceted, oversized, very, very good looking. In my opinion, I just love faceted fountain pens. This model is based on a model from Visconti, which is called the Medici. So this is the smaller sibling of this very high-end model. It's going to be a little bit bigger than the one which is made in resin, a little bit thicker, more weight. Of course, we are dealing with a marble fountain pen made from materials like silver, marble, and with those in this format comes a very high degree of machining experience. In order to make a marble fountain pen, it's very difficult. I've seen it with my own eyes in the Visconti factory. It is very difficult to make it into a writing instrument, which is also usable. Keep in mind, this is a usable writing instrument. You can ink it, you can use it. It's a little bit more weighty, but again, it is usable. From the get-going, we see the usual Visconti clip and the elements that makes it look, feel, and identify with a Visconti fountain pen. The Ponte di Vecchio clip, which is also something taken from the city of Florence. I've been on that bridge for like 4 or 5 times, so it is something which strikes home for me at least. Lots of elements. We have the white marble Calacatta gold, which originates from Appian Alps. This is a marble which was reserved for artists like Michelangelo, Donatello. It is something which screams elegance, luxury. The model itself, it's called Il Magnifico, and it's the nickname of Lorenzo de Medici, which is a member of the Medici family. Pretty sure you heard of them, patrons of art. And Lorenzo de Medici in the Renaissance period supported and also sponsored artists like Michelangelo, Leonardo da Vinci, Botticelli, this way creating art form which we can enjoy today. In order for the artist to create something that delights our view today, so many years further in history, it is due to people like Lorenzo de Medici, which supported this artist and sponsored them, because making art was not cheap back then and also today. Now that we put you into the mood of enjoying the very fine details of this fountain pen, let's zoom in and let's check out what makes this pen so impressive. We're going to start with the finial Visconti V logo, but this is something which is held in place by a magnet, and you can remove this with a specific tool from the My Pen system from Visconti, and you can substitute it with something like your name initials, zodiac signs, also semi-precious stones. And we have this available in our store, so if you want to personalize such a high-end exclusive writing instrument and to make it yours, truly yours, you have this option without laser engraving or scratching the surface permanently. I believe this is genius. Then we have the clip, like I told you, Ponte di Vecchio clip, and this is inspired by a famous bridge in Florence, and on it we have Visconti. Behind we have enamel. I don't think this is enamel in the sense of really enamel being put into a kiln. I believe this is a sort of a resin enamel like, but I believe it makes this offset of the Visconti name look really good, and it's white and it has a little bit of gold veins in through every single detail. It's very crisp. Every single aspect, it's done with a high degree of attention for details. And we have a cap which is made in solid sterling silver. Yes, if you question if this is heavy, I confirm it's heavy because it's made in solid sterling silver. Not only that, on top of it we have gold plating, which is a technique called vermeil. It is going to match the Calacatta gold marble perfectly. Entire cap, it's faceted. We have the overall shape of the Battisterio, the Florence, which is near the Duomo of Florence. So if you visit the city, don't forget to drop by and see the Battisterio, which has, as you look at it like this, the same shape as the cap of this fountain pen. Not all facets are without this branding or engraving, better said. This is the Florentine lily. It is a coat of arms which has to do with the Medici family, but not only this, it's present in a lot of monuments, sculptures. As you see all of the historic buildings, look closer, you will see this Florentine lily on many buildings, sculptures, statues. It is something which connects this specific pen to the city itself. Let's uncap the fountain pen. We do that very quickly with the use of the patented hook safe lock mechanism of Visconti, and it's a bayonet type of a capping system which assures the user that it's going to be uncapped very easy, quickly. If you want to access the nib and get some quick notes done, this is the most simplest system that you may want to have on such a pen. It is going to align every single facet regardless how you cap or uncap the fountain pen in a second. And I just love this very crisp capping motion. I don't know if the camera picks this detail up, but inside the cap we have an inner cap which is designed to just cover the nib and ensure it's not going to dry when the fountain pen is capped, that it's spring loaded, and it is a element which actually doesn't allow you to touch the metal parts with your gold nib. So this is something which I find to be very handy at this Visconti fountain pen. Now the nib, the writing point of the fountain pen. This is a nib which is in-house made by Visconti at the Visconti facility. I've seen it in person. I can confirm that. 18 karat gold stamped right here. Extra fine is the nib size. In the middle of the nib, we can spot the crescent moon breather hole, which is something that Visconti does, and I just love that. Turning the nib like this, ABS plastic feeder. Both the nib and the feeder are friction fitted inside a housing, and that housing can be taken off by unscrewing. I'm not going to demonstrate that because Visconti doesn't promote this, but as a retailer, I'm able to perform this and change your nib to whatever nib size you can order. This way, Visconti anticipates that the users may want to change from a different nib size later down, from extra fine to fine, from fine to a broad, you name it, you are able to do it, and you can purchase individual nibs. They are not cheap. When we're dealing with a fountain pen which is of this price tag, you have the possibility of changing the nib if you want. Very, very easy. Gripping point of the Il Magnifico is one which I find to be very comfortable. This is made in solid sterling silver vermeil, just like any solid sterling silver part of this specific fountain pen. It has a look which is not very, very shiny, so it's slightly satin. I wouldn't say this is matte, and I just love this because it's not going to be a fingerprint magnet. Sterling silver has a tendency to age. Once it's vermeil, that is no longer applicable, and the fact that this is satin, it's going to not have all of those fingerprints showing. So the gripping point, I believe it's something like 10 millimeters plus or minus around there, making this fountain pen very, very well in writing. When this fountain pen is uncapped, it's heavy, but its weight, it's evenly distributed, so it's not going to feel back heavy, front heavy, nothing whatsoever. If you post it, it's a different story, but I don't see this fountain pen being posted in use. We can assume that it's going to be used unposted. Moving a little bit further, we can see some of the channels and grooves for the capping system. Those are not sharp at all. You can also grip the fountain pen by that specific area without having too much trouble. Then we have this ring right here, which is faceted and marks the beginning of the barrel, which is made in Calacatta gold marble. And this ring, it's polished to a mirror look, gold plated. I don't believe it's sterling silver. Moving further, we have the barrel of the fountain pen, which I just hope that the camera picks up the depth of color, the gold veins that run into this marble, because this is something very, very luxurious. The barrel has a specific shape. It's not going to run from one end to the other without changing in diameter. So the facets are something linear, but diameter of the barrel starts at the thickest point right here and starts to grow a little bit, and right here is the thickest point. Then it starts to move towards this ring right here and reducing in diameter. The shape, it's not linear. Linear shape means that there is no difficulty in actually making that stone flat, cut to an angle, polished, and that's it. No, it is going to be a mix of shapes which starts thinner, then grows, and then thins in towards the end of the barrel. Everything is super, super smooth. I don't see any pores. I don't see any single blemish inside this Italian Calacatta Macchia Oro marble. I hope I pronounced that correctly. I'm not Italian. And then we arrive at the end of the barrel, which is marked by another ring which has the same polishing look like this ring right here, a little bit thinner. And this is not just a ring. I believe this is the mounting point of the filling system, the piston knob, which bears the same Florentine lily made in solid sterling silver, vermeil plated, and have a look how well this fountain pen just simply aligns in regards of the facets. It just goes to show that if you pay such a price tag for a high-end luxury writing instrument, details like this, the alignment in between the facets, is something which is very, very important, and this fountain pen doesn't disappoint. When it's completely tight, everything, if you look at it like this, you will see a continuous line of reflecting light, and everything is in one complete alignment. Then we have the dome-shaped and on it we have the engraving of the limited edition number 188. It's not a high number for a limited edition like this. I believe this is a fountain pen which is very underrated because it is white and it's a combination with gold, and it will jump and ask for attention. You will draw some looks with it. Let's analyze the filling system. This filling system, it's Visconti trademark power vac filling system. This is something which Visconti makes very well. I'm going to be showing you this kind of a system into a demonstrator fountain pen to see how it's working. Unscrew this end part. Inside there is a rod and a piston head. You pull this like so, and then you start to move like this. This part right here behind the piston forms vacuum, and as you go lower and lower, you would want to have the fountain pen submerged in ink around this level right here on the section. Once you pop that vacuum, the fountain pen starts to suck up ink through the nib feeder into the body, and it goes behind the piston. This version that I'm showing you right now, it's a power vac double reservoir, so it has this ink window right here. This is done in order to be able to seal the ink behind the piston and use that double reservoir only when you need to write with the fountain pen, preventing your shirts from getting stained with ink when you take your fountain pen on a flight. Having a look at the Il Magnifico Calacatta gold marble, I can see right here that we don't have any double reservoir mentioned on the filling system, only power filler. You can think of it being a vacuum filling fountain pen. You don't need to unscrew this and make sure that you have some ink coming from the barrel into the double reservoir ink window in order to access that specific ink. So this fountain pen, once you did a plunge, that's it. It's full of ink. You can write with it without doing any other process. This summarizes our details for the Visconti Il Magnifico Calacatta gold marble. Let me know what you think about it. Let me know if you enjoy my content, and if you enjoy my content, don't forget to give this video a big thumbs up. This will help me a lot with the YouTube algorithm and everything else. And if you're not subscribed, stay tuned, because we are going to showcase some pretty amazing things in the following months. The best way to find out about all of them is to be a subscriber, newsletter subscriber for the Penventure website. And let's continue. Here we have the Il Magnifico next to a Visconti Medici, its smaller sibling. Then we have Divina Proporzione, Coned king size bulk filler, Visconti Opera Master, Visconti Bronze Age Homo Sapiens. As you can clearly see, the Visconti Il Magnifico has a lot of things in common with the size of the Bronze Age Homo sapiens. It is taller than its sibling, the Visconti Medici. Both the Divina and Opera Master are taller than it. Kept like this, the Visconti Il Magnifico measures 142 millimeters. Posted like this, it's going to measure 170 millimeters. Uncapped like this in writing position, it's going to have 132 millimeters. Capped or posted, its weight, it's going to be 82 grams, and uncapped like this, it's going to be 48 grams. Of course, as I told you, this is a weighty fountain pen. At 82 grams, this is a fountain pen which it's going to be significant in your hands when it's capped. Remove the cap in order to write with it. It's still heavy. 48 grams. I had fountain pens which were made in sterling silver, completely solid, and they were more weighty than this one. This is still practical. You can still use this fountain pen, but the best way to enjoy this fountain pen, I think, it's going to be in a format like this, on a desk or in a meeting where it is not a very hectic pace, or you're at home, you enjoy the end of the day, you have some spare time from every single stress factor from your work day, and you get that sweet bottle of ink. You just untwist it like so, put it inside some ink, then you have this pop. Oh, now you know that ink goes into the fountain pen, you wipe the section, you take some very refined fountain pen friendly paper, and then you let this nib shine on that paper. It is going to be your fountain pen for signatures, for special moments, for that specific time when you want to get noticed, because this is white with gold, so it will scream for attention. It will not be the type of a fountain pen which it's going to be overlooked and put on the desk and no one will ask you anything about it. No, it's going to be the type of fountain pen which people will be like, should I ask? What is that? How much it costs? What's the story behind it? Why is it so elaborate? Why is it's going to make you feel noticed. As I told you throughout this video, this fountain pen has a price point which matches what you get delivered with it. And that price point, it's not cheap. This is not a cheap fountain pen. It is not meant to look, feel, or be cheap. In this moment right now, if you want to welcome one of these in your collection, it's going to cost you around 2016 euros, no VAT, no taxes. This is a fountain pen which is going to be in a category of its own. It's high-end, it's exquisite, it's luxurious, its price point, it's going to reflect that. In the past, the other editions were a little bit more accessible, but not that much. Like, for example, I think 4 or 5 editions back, if I remember correctly, it was priced at 1,700 euros. If you just take into consideration the fact that in the last 3 or 4 years, materials and also the prices for energy consumption and every single thing risen in price. So going from 1.7K retail, no VAT, to 2,000, I don't think it's an increase in pricing which is absurd, but that is just my opinion alone. And let's continue with the part which I just adore, using and writing with such writing instruments. This is the best part of being a retailer like me, because I am surrounded by so many writing instruments. I can enjoy the nibs and I can just get to have exciting moments like this whenever I am sharing them with you all in videos like this, and I just love this. In the past 2 months or so, we haven't had too many video reviews, and to be honest, I've missed having this time with you all. So let me recharge with your energy and let me showcase this writing instrument and share it with you watching right now, because I love this. This is a huge ink capacity, and I believe it's going to be plenty for you to enjoy on quite a few long writing sessions. I'm not completely sure of the entire volume of ink for this specific writing instrument when it's fully inked. For this handwriting sample, I'm going to use the Rhodia dot pad, but I'm using it because it is very common and you have access to it, so possibly you watching have a better understanding what I am relaying to you if I'm using a paper that you may use on your end. But as paper goes, my favorite ultimate fountain pen friendly paper is something that's coming from Japan, like Tomo River paper, Graphilo, Aerofil, and those kinds of paper makes this whole experience feel much more luxurious than what a paper like Rhodia can offer. So if you are keen on having that specific paper, it's available on our platform. I'm going to leave you a link down below together with the link for the fountain pen just as well. And let's start with the pen. Visconti. I have not done anything to the nib itself. This is how it came from the box. So we're going to analyze a raw writing sample stock without having the nib in any way adjusted or tailored for this specific experience. In the past, when Visconti was using the 23 karat palladium Dream Touch nibs, there are some nibs that had specific things like hard starts, skipping. When Visconti decided to use the 18 karat gold nibs, as a retailer myself, I can tell you that they come very very consistent writers out of the box. Of course, at PenVenture, we are checking every single nib, regardless if you ask us or not. If we find those nibs to be underperforming, we can fix them even if you let us know or not. If we find specific things that are just simply too much in regards of our skills to be able to get them to write optimal, we're going to send them back and we're going to ask for replacement for them from manufacturers. So this way you are getting your Visconti nib from PenVenture writing very, very optimal. But for the sake of this video, I believe staying stock as the fountain pen comes from the box is the most true form of showcasing how it's writing. And this is also because a lot of other retailers are using videos like this to sell their pens. So for them, in order to be able to relate to this specific handwriting experience, having the fountain pen being stock is the best way to help even them educate their customers in what they purchase. So let's continue. Visconti Il Magnifico Calacatta Gold. Ink, diamine, so not Asian copper, ox blood. Nib, 18 karat gold, extra fine point. You can have this nib also in fine, medium, broad, and a stub. And paper, Rhodia dot pad. As extra fine nibs go, this is on the wet side, so it's not a dry extra fine nib. Plenty of wetness for extra fine point. You can expect this from Visconti nibs. Altogether, they are moderate, but on the wet side of moderate. Even in a double pass, it's still manageable. Sorry about this. I had to move the notebook a little bit higher. Then we have normal figure of eights. Remember, this is not your Japanese extra fine point, but again, it's more of an extra fine than the 23 karat palladium Dream Touch nibs. And we have some flex. Don't press on this nibs. This is not designed to flex. It will have some line variation, but it is stiff. If you don't want to ruin your good nib, please don't flex it, don't press on it, because it's stiff and it will press, it will flex, and then it will be like whoop, and that's it. It's not coming back. And you need special help for it. This is the part where we use that specific sentence that everyone is using, but not us. We're going to use a different one. The marble not yet carved holds the form of every thought the greatest artist has. I can tell that this nib is writing optimal. And does this mean that it's optimal for me? No. This has a little bit of a feedback which I would take away if it was my nib. I would prefer to have it a little bit more smoother, so in order to do that I would take some of this feedback. But again, it's not unpleasant, it's at the borderline limit. A lot of you want to feel like you're writing with a pen, and the best way to actually feel this is to have a little bit of feedback and grip, and to feel that specific pencil-like feedback that you get from a writing instrument with a nib. And in order to do that, it's a fine balance. I don't see any hard starts, any skipping whatsoever. As you turn the fountain pen, it's writing, it's wet, it's consistent. To grab it from the box and write with it, it will be okay. If I want to enjoy it for a long time and to welcome it in my collection, it will require me to have this extra fine point a little bit more precisely tuned for my likings. But again, you can ask for this specific service without any single cost or any single delay, which can be attributed to it, and I'll personally check and tune the nib accordingly to your instructions. Now let's wrap up everything and let's have some personal opinions of myself regarding this specific model of a fountain pen / edition. It's Saturday. I'm having a great time recording this video and sharing it with you all. It's feeling like it's 2 months since we haven't had a talk. We haven't had a very nice writing instrument that I can share with you all. So this fountain pen was sitting there and I was like, let me have a look of something which I think it's underrated, and this edition fits and checks this box. It's underrated. I don't know why, because it's good looking. It has a color which is a little bit more off than possibly what we can call as being the classical fountain pen, black with gold trim. I don't have anything wrong regarding a classical look fountain pen, but this makes it a little bit more unique and stands out. And for some, it can stand out for all the good reasons, and for some, it can stand out for the reasons that they don't want to have such a writing instrument. I can understand that. It's gonna sound funny to you, but I'm imagining right now that this fountain pen is actually talking to me. It is describing itself and the experience of owning it to me. So I am exclusive, I am elegant, I am using luxury, precious materials like marble, not only marble, the Calacatta gold marble. I am using sterling silver, not only sterling silver, solid gold-plated / vermil sterling silver. I am just displaying historical bits and pieces of DNA from Florence. I am bringing you something which is unique as an experience. When you put this nib to the paper, you actually feel unique. And I want you as a collector to feel special and unique when you own me. I don't want you to shy away from just having those questions put when someone is noticing me, because I am bold, I am looking so good, and I'm not afraid to dress this clothes and offer you the spot. You are the collector that have this unique piece in your collection, and you deserve to be noticed. I know that it's a pen monologue, call it whatever you like, but this is a fountain pen which I think it's very bold. This is not one of those fountain pens that you may want to have and use for 3 or 4 hours of writing in a journal, transcribing a specific lesson from I don't know which course you've taken. This is a fountain pen which gives you a little bit more of a personal connection, and it requires a specific way to enjoy it. I believe you can enjoy this at the end of a day. You put your Chianti-Shire wine from Tuscany, Italy, and you dim the lights and you get that very special paper, and you put some thoughts on a piece of paper, or you write a to-do list for tomorrow. It is one of those pieces that you can display proudly in your office, at home, or at work, if this is something which it's a gratification, or it's one of those purchases that you reward yourself with after achieving something very important as a milestone. This is one of those fountain pens. You have to be very careful when using this fountain pen. If you drop it off, it will for sure get a ding, and of course a high degree level of just having this marble crack. Stone, it's not flexible and it can crack, and this is no exception. When using this fountain pen, be very careful in which environment are you using it. Don't use it on the go. It is very expensive. It is very luxurious. It requires a specific mood to enjoy writing with it. So this is just my personal beliefs and my personal observation. I may be wrong, and also you may be right just as well. I want to know if you have any single other questions regarding this specific model, this specific fountain pen, and of course, let's discuss further your questions, your curiosity, and anything and everything in regards of this fountain pen, and not only this, in the comment section down below. You can find this fountain pen available at PenVenture still. Let me know what you think about my content. Let me know if you have any other questions. If you want to have a look at PenVenture, I'm going to leave you a link down below for the fountain pen, for the paper, for our website just as well. If you have not checked the thumbs up button, and if you are around, it's going to be very, very beneficial for PenVenture and our growth. If you check the thumbs up, don't forget to subscribe. Click there, subscribe, turn the notification bell on, and you will be notified whenever we have content like this. If you want to watch my previous videos, I'm going to leave you this right here. You can click and enjoy. As always, I'm your host from PenVenture. I look forward to seeing you next video. Take care, stay safe.